Allah Azza wa Jal talked about this in Surah Al-Ankabut. One of my favorite surahs in the Quran, Surah Al-Ankabut, the 29th surah. The 29th surah is a late Makki surah. A lot of young Sahaba were there in that struggle along the Prophet ﷺ who lost their friends. Parents didn't want to talk to them anymore. Friends didn't want to talk to them anymore. They were getting boycotted only because they were Muslim. You know what we're learning from that? And they're the best people. I mean, they're really the best people. And they're boycotted. You know what that means? When you decide to take a turn in your life towards Allah, chances are you will be boycotted by your friends. Chances are you will lose friends along the way. Chances are your people are not going to want to hang out with you anymore. You used to hang out with your friends and do all kinds of things with them. Now you say, no, I can't do that. I don't want to go there. I don't want to do this. No, I'd rather not watch that. You had a friend, you guys used to talk about girls all the time, but then something came and you made istighfar, then he calls you again. Yo bro, guess what I just saw? Guess who I just talked to? And you're like, I don't want to talk about that, bro. It's okay. Whoa, what happened? What happened? Well, you were okay with that last month? Yeah, that was last month. I'm not like that anymore. Come on, really? And they're trying to reel you back in, right? But then you just stop yourself. You stop yourself and you say, no, I can't do that anymore. So you know what's going to happen? They're going to say, you're no fun anymore. There's no fun hanging out with you anymore. And they'll cut you out. Again, you don't give up on them, but they will. They have no reason to not give up on you. They'll give up on you. And they can make you really depressed. You can feel like, ever since I started getting more serious about Allah's deen, I started losing friends. And friends are a big part of life. It's a really valuable thing to have in life, right? What are we going to do without our friends? So what does Allah say as a consolation to these Sahaba who are losing friends? Who are even losing family in some cases. Their parents are giving up on them. Like Sa'ad ibn Abi Waqqas radiallahu ta'ala, right? What does Allah say to them? He says, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ لَنُدْخِلَنَّهُمْ فِي الصَّالِحِينَ. People who have Iman, people who do good things, I will absolutely enter them, I will inject them, absolutely, no doubt about it, into the company of the righteous. The ayah before I told you, you will be, one of the gifts of Allah is that you will find friends that you are comfortable with that are righteous. But then you say to yourself, well, how am I going to get those friends? And this ayah Allah tells us, look, you lost friends, I see that. You're isolated, you've been boycotted, I see that. You continue to believe in me and do the right thing and you watch. I will put you in the middle of really good people. I will do that for you. لَنُدْخِلَنَّهُمْ فِي الصَّالِحِينَ يعني في الدُّنْيا وَالْآخِرَةِ. He will enter you into good people's company here and in the next life. What more can we ask for? And I can tell you, this is an absolute fact. It's an absolute fact. The organization I represent, for example, is not a one-man show. It's not just me. Actually, most of the things that get done in my organization, almost all of the things that get done in Bayyin, get done by someone other than myself. I'm actually the one who does the least amount of work at my organization. Everybody else does the work. But Allah has put people in my path that I couldn't possibly have found them through a job search or through I need some good volunteers and things like that. Allah put them in my path. And they're priceless people to me. They're the most valuable people to me, And some of them are friends, some of them are employees, and even as employees they're friends, and they're the most valuable assets you can imagine. People that are in business can testify. People that are in business know the hardest thing you can find is people you can trust. A business partner you can trust, an employee you can trust. It's the hardest thing to find. And Allah is saying, you just try to do the right thing and I will give you that. I will give you the ultimate gift of great friends. And that's really what we want. We want the salihin to be our friends, the good people to be our friends, righteous people to be our friends, so that comfort we have with them in this dunya doesn't disappear in the akhirah. Allah already said that. Friends will be enemies on that day. People are going to run from each other on that day, but not these people. إِلَّا الْمُتَّقِينَ. Except people of taqwa. So that's really my hope for myself and for all of you. Be on the lookout for good friends, but more than that, you be the good friend yourself. You be a source of good influence. Don't be a consumer, nobody's good friends with me, therefore I'm messed up. Well, why aren't you yourself a source of goodness? Why aren't you leading the way? Why aren't you the first to say, no, 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 I'm not impressed by the hype? You know, I'm gonna be who I am. I'm comfortable with who I am. I don't have to fake it and try to be someone I'm not.
How you prevent yourself from depression? You have to avoid, number one, loneliness. I have another article, I didn't finish it yet, 25 pages, about loneliness. Now really, it's very miserable to live by yourself. Now imagine yourself, your husband and children went overseas, and you stay by yourself here for 1 week or 2 or 1 month, till they come back. Don't you feel miserable and lonely or not? Yes. So, God forbid, I mean, there are so many causes of loneliness and misery that I put about 17 varieties of loneliness. It's not only you lost somebody. I mean, suppose you don't have children. Husband, wife only. Don't you feel also lonely, both of you? You didn't try it.
But they have certain problems. Husband and wife who doesn't have a children, they have certain problems.
Suppose they have biological problem, but even husband, wife, it's not a norm of life. If it is a norm of life, listen to me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have kept Adam and Eve in Jannah. They will be lonely. Husband, wife, lonely. Even in the day of judgment, you are not going to go with your husband only, he's going to bring your children. Because Jannah, without your children, is no happiness. Without your father and mother and all the extended members of the family, is not Jannah. And even Malaika in the Quran, they pray for your happiness in Jannah to be with your parents, with your relatives, with your children, and the Zurriya, in order to enjoy the company of not being lonely, but to be with a group. I said avoid loneliness. If you want in the future, when I type that article, loneliness, you will see how we can avoid also loneliness. Of course, to avoid loneliness, like now, if you are by yourself, what do you achieve? On weekend, what do you do? You physicians, what do you do? If you have no clinic, no, you stay at home with husband, with children. But if your children are grown up now and went, they left you, some of them in California, some of them here. So you are calling on the phone, see your telephone bill, how much it is. You as well as your children. But you feel, without talking to my children, I'm lonely. Now when you become even grandfather, grandmother, you want to talk to your, not only children, to your grandchildren. You want to play with them and to avoid loneliness. Loneliness is a sign of sickness and disease in the society. We are being created by Allah not to live lonely. He brought them down, He brought them children. And He said, but unless Allah doesn't want, He's testing you, because He knows if He bring you children, you are going to be miserable. You still remember Surah Al-Kahf? That little infant was killed by Al-Khidr because he was to be mischievous against his father and mother and against the whole society. He might be like those crazy dictators in the Arab world.
Allah mentioned guidance coming. He said, فَمَنْ تَبِعَ هُدَايَ. Whoever follows my guidance, singular. Whoever follows my guidance. Not وَالَّذِينَ يَتَّبِعُونَ هِدَايَ. Whoever, the people who follow my guidance. He mentions following guidance as an individual thing. You know why? Because sometimes following guidance means you have to be alone. Following misguidance, everybody can do it, and they'll do it in a herd. And when you want to follow guidance, you have to stand away from the herd. It's like swimming upstream. You'll be the only one sometimes. You might be the only one in your family who's trying to stick to Allah's deen. Everybody else is going in the opposite direction. Look at the messengers. When they start their missions, alayhimu salatu wasalam, all by themselves. And the people who follow them, the loners in their families, the whole family, goes against them. So following this deen and following its guidance has to be a very personal, brave initiative. But then the gift of Allah, لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. When you do follow Allah's guidance, He gives you a new company. He gives you company of believers. So the rest of the ayah is plural. In this dunya, you get the company of believers, and in the akhirah also, لَنُدْخِلَنَّهُمْ فِي الصَّالِحِينَ. We will enter them into the company of the righteous. May Allah give us that company in dunya and in akhirah.
Depression usually comes from being far from Allah. Anyone who's in love and you take them away from their loved one, what happens to them? You feel distant. you feel sorrow. Our souls, their nature is that they want Allah. They need the remembrance of Allah. You know, the body consists of flesh and bone and muscle and blood, but there's two parts to the body. There's the physical sense and there's the spiritual sense. And the physical, we know what it needs. It needs exercise, it needs a good heart, it needs good food, it needs nutrition, it needs all of these things to have a good, healthy body. But what does the soul need? That soul needs Allah. And when that soul is taken away from Allah, it doesn't remember Allah, it's never in a good environment. It becomes depressed. It becomes lonely. It yearns for Allah. It yearns for its Creator. We need these environments. We need to be around good people. And when I say good people, you know, many of us have this habit. Oh, mashallah, you know, I have very, very good friends. They don't swear and they don't steal and they don't do anything wrong. They don't break the law. So these are good people. No, this is not, again, wallahi, we've become so shallow. Good people means people that remember Allah. People that talk about Allah. People who don't sit there backbiting and slandering and slamming and my opinion and your opinion and these people and that people and people who, when I'm sitting with them, you know, I feel like I'm getting closer to Allah. I leave the gathering, I feel depressed, I want to go back there again. These are good people. People who pray. People who really have genuine fear of Allah. These are good people, so you need these people in your environment. The human being is a social creation, it's a social being. We are not loners, you know, this concept of, oh, I just want to be alone. This is wrong, corruption. We are social beings, we are social creatures. And you will always be a product of your surrounding. So we need to be around good people.
Because it is important to get to know others, to be there at the spot. There's a difference between seeing my human brother and tell him, it's okay, have faith in Allah, shake his hand, maybe give him a hug. All will be well. Have faith in Allah. Listen to his trouble rather than just texting or commenting on a picture of this brother or sister saying, oh, I like your outfit. We become so materialistic. Or worse more, to comment on a girl's eyes or hair or you name it. Facebook is not social. Facebook is anti-social. Twitter is not social. Twitter is anti-social. If you return to yourselves just now, you think deep in your heart, you would realize how much these social networks have ruined life, have taken our humanity away, have stripped us from our humanity. You are all feeling lonely in your hearts. That's why you go to Facebook. That's why you go to Twitter. Because you think it will fulfill this emptiness. But why is this emptiness being created? Because of these technology, because of the technology, because of social networks, anti-social networks. If everybody of us realizes this fact and realizes that we are humans, not objects, not pictures to be commented on where we went to what we do, then perhaps we would return to our sense of humanity, to love and care for each other as we wish and as we pray that others care for us and love us. That is Islam. That is Islam. Because it's about love. My dear brothers and sisters, when Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, when he talks about Salat al-Jum'ah, for example, okay, why is Salat al-Jum'ah very important? Is it just because it's a Friday that's worshipping Allah? Well, of course, but there is a social aspect of it. Getting to see other people, getting to listen to their troubles, to their issues, to the issues of the nation. But أمسى وأصبح ولم يهتم بأمور المسلمين فليس بمسلم. Whoever doesn't care for the affairs of Muslims is not a Muslim. Why? How does that mean? What does that mean? Because we have to care for others. We are a society. We're not an individual. Islam always promotes social welfare. Because the welfare of the individual stems from the welfare of society. When the welfare of society goes away, individuals are destroyed along the way. Let's not fall in this trap